Alright, this video is about biting, if you're trying to basically make it stop, or at least lessen it to where you're not cringing in pain each time. More particularly, this will be towards, will you come here? He's really interested in the chicks I have right now. This could be good if you're just trying to get them to come out of the cage and they're biting you, or you're just trying to interact with them normally and they're biting you, or if you're just holding them and you've had this bird for a while and they just decided to take a chunk out of you. This works for all kinds of things. This can also be used if they poop on you, or eat off your plate, or fly at you, and if they do anything you don't want them to do, this method can work for that. First off, make sure all dangerous things are out of the equation. Ceiling fans, open toilets, open doors, open windows, children, little children that will probably want to play and squish the bird, dogs, cats, anything like that. You need to knock it off. This is not showing a very good example. I just tried to do this video a moment ago and I was making an example of justified biting, which if I'm okay, I guess we get to show non-justified biting. No biting, Jack Jack. I put him on the floor, it is safe, and I'm walking away. Which I guess now I'm going to do this in the bathroom. Yippee! You get to see my new bathroom, Chelsea. But what I just did is, in a very firm tone, I told him no biting. I put him on the floor and then I walked away. For birds, that's the biggest panic point ever. He can fly, and usually that means he would just chase after me, but he didn't this time, and I think it's because we're in a new apartment. But you don't have to put them on the floor if you're worried about Colton or your dog getting him. You can pretty much put them on any surface that is at waist level or lower than your waist, and you basically leave them alone in a safe area and walk away, and you go back after a handful of minutes. Or you have a bird that knows this game and you have done it with them before and they understand, oh, I did wrong, let's find the human and get back on them, which he has already come to do. He came through the hallway, followed me, walking along the floor, and now he's climbing up my pants, will eventually climb up my shirt, and then be sitting on my shoulder, which at that point they have learned, on this human, with this human, I am safe. I am not where predators can get me, and they just know not to bite again. A lot of times with Jack Jack, when he gets to be about my waist, I will just pick him up because it's just mean to keep dragging that on, because sometimes birds have trouble connecting and staying on your clothing. Like, I have no sleeves, he would have trouble. But that is an example of a biter. My last video, I was showing an example of justified biting, in which you would not discipline him for, and he is still overreacting to it, which all I did was turn him upside down, pull out his wings, which not in a wing clipping capacity, but in a not so nice way. And if you are messing with your bird like that, sorry, my eye is really bothering me. I have been awake for a really long time. But if you are messing with the bird or deliberately doing things to irritate the bird and they bite you, don't discipline them. You deserved it, and that is their way of getting their feelings across. It took about a month of doing what I just showed you before the biting wasn't so harsh and it was just painful, but I wasn't bleeding anymore. And then after another month it got to be even lighter than that, and it was only denting my skin, and I've had him for a year now, and for the most part his bites are basically like, I'm touching you with my beak, what are you gonna do about it? Every bird is different. It could take longer, it could take an even shorter amount of time. You want to make sure that both you and Kaylin, or whoever's watching this, if you have multiple people who own this bird, that each of them put this punishment, this discipline in effect. Because if only one person's doing it, a lot of times we'll just decide they hate that person and we'll go with other people. Jack only likes me. My boyfriend has been around since I've had him, since I got him. He lived with me for the first 8 or so months, and he still attacks him when he sees him. No, Jack. When they do bite you, you don't want to freak out. You don't want to throw them. You definitely don't want to throw them. You don't want to scream. You don't want to react in an excitable way in any capacity, because that's what they want. Honestly, I'm so brain farty right now, I don't know if I already said it, but if you're trying to pull them out of the cage and they bite you, don't leave them in there. Continue to pull them out, and if they still bite you, put them on the floor, even if it's in front of their cage, but obviously in a way they can't climb on it. Even if they're in front of their cage, put them on the floor and walk away. And Jack always followed me and climbed my pants, which is an extremely short amount of time for him to be on the floor, but it got the point across. He's not... Don't show bad examples like that. So now he's not biting me. He's touching me with his beak, but it looks like he's biting me. I promise you he's not. He is, because birds are going to touch you with their beaks. That's another thing. You have to understand that they don't have hands that they can just test things out with. They have to test them out with their beaks. Is this food? What is this? For the most part, he can tell the difference between flesh and clothing, hair, any number of things, but he'll still pull on my lips, pull on my nose, pull on my glasses, nibble on my ear. He will just touch you with their beak. Don't consider that biting and punish them, because that's just their way of interacting with you and thinking that they're grooming you in a way. I don't use treats for this. Just being able to get on a person and up where they feel safe is enough of a reward, in my opinion, and obviously it works. I'm sorry, I did not mean to knock you down. But I hope you learned from this very unplanned now video and very thrown off track, thank you, video. But hey, at least you got to see an example of how you do it.